All right, ladies and gentlemen, beauties and gents, this is Tony Wilson. We are doing the Rise of the Kings podcast. We have a special edition of this podcast this week. We're going to be talking about postpartum depression, and I have some amazing women from all walks of life that are coming on to talk about it. Can I get everyone to introduce themselves, starting with Venita?
Hi, everybody. I'm Venita Shandorf. When Tony and I met each other, I was Venita Lay. I currently live in the suburbs of Washington right now, right outside of Seattle, and 33 years old. I work as a family nurse practitioner. And I have two beautiful kids.
Thank you. Can we go to Selene?
Hello, my name is Selene. I went to college with Tony. I have 3 kids. 2 of them are biological. I'm 26 years old. I'm currently in the finance world, but my passion and my degree is in social justice with a focus in systemic inequality and women's studies.
Thank you. Can we go next to Irene?
Hi, I'm Irene. I am a freelance producer. I focus on advertisements. So I work for ad agencies. I live in New Orleans. I just got back from a project in Austin. And I met Tony, I think, through the social dilemma. I think that Tony, the algorithm decided that Tony and I should be friends and kept showing me his stuff. And so we became friends. And I've just been really interested in the topics that he posts, always make me think. And so it's nice to be around like-minded people. And then I like this topic because, I don't have children, but I have some insight into what postpartum has probably done. And I just want my voice to be heard too.
And to my big sister, Keyondra.
Hi guys, I am Keyondra. I go by the stage name of Bumblebee. I met Tony in the poetry world. We did a lot of poetry together. I'm 38. I'm the mother of 1 daughter. She's 19. I'm currently furloughed from work. I was a banker, but I started a movement that I'm doing. It's called Tip a Server, where I collect donations and I dine out every week to tip servers who's struggling during the pandemic.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I have been so amazed at the work you're doing. Miss Bag Lady is what I've been calling you.
Well, actually, what the movement is, I collect donations from family and friends and also people on social media, Facebook, Instagram. I collect the donations, and every Monday I dine out. I pick a restaurant randomly. I dine out and I tip a server. I've tipped 8 servers so far. All of them have been in New Orleans except one. I was on vacation in Florida and I was able to tip 2 people actually. I've tipped out $1,000 each, $500 each, $800. So I'm trying to it's slowing down a little bit, but I'm trying to just get the movement to keep going and eventually spread it, further than that.
Like, and she has it all on Facebook, so you can see it. Like,
yeah, so you
live reactions.
I watched one of them. That was really cool.
I kind of want to start serving so I can get some of that money. All right. And
hi, everybody. I'm Guen and I'm Tony's wife, and we met about 6 years ago here in New Orleans. I'm 35. I just had a birthday last week, and we have 1 daughter. And I work in the nonprofit youth serving organization here in New Orleans, and my background's in public health and education.
Can you tell me more about your job?
Yeah, I work for a job training program that serves young people who are out of school or out of work, who are 16 to 24 years old. And I do like social services and wraparound services for those who are in the program.
All right, I'll sum it up. Basically what she does, she takes at-risk kids who need job skills, and she gives them job skills in the restaurant industry. Mm-hmm. And then they go on and they partner with organizations and other businesses, and she gets them jobs. So Keyondra, you probably have,
you might have tipped, one of our alumni, because we often connect them to employment opportunities. They may be in the front of house serving, or they could be cooking, chefs and stuff.
So let's get right into it. We are here talking about postpartum depression. I guess the reason why this all even started was because we had our first child last year, and I experienced my wife going through it, and also I went through like the male version of it all. So I guess I just wanted to talk more about it because I think men don't really understand what women really go through. You know what I mean? So let's just go around, do a round table. What is your experience with postpartum depression and anxiety? Can we start with Selene?
Yes. And just first of all, I want to say that I'm honored that you're doing this, and I'm honored that you asked me to be a part of it. For me personally, this is one of my most isolating, silentest struggles that I've been through in life. And I want to first establish across the board, anytime I'm speaking about anything, I can only speak from my own experience. I'm not an expert. And my experience may not be universal or relatable, but all I can do is bring to the table what I have. So I'm sorry, I'm referring to my notes here, but so I've had 2 births in the last 4 years. With my first birth, I was lucky enough to have, I would say, like a little bit of warning about what I could potentially experience after giving birth, in the sense that I have a long history of mental illness. So I came into pregnancy with a diagnosis of bipolar, I had a diagnosis of depression, and I had a diagnosis of anxiety. So I was labeled from the get-go as high risk for postpartum depression. I was really lucky with both of my pregnancies on the physical side of things. I was really healthy throughout. Everything went really smoothly. But as far as the mental side, I actually was diagnosed with something that a lot of people don't know exists, and that's prenatal depression. So even before I had given birth, I was having mental health concerns related to being pregnant and delivery and becoming a mother. With my first birth, I was lucky enough to have a very smooth birth experience. And I want to highlight that because I feel very strongly, I don't have any science to back this up, but I feel very strongly that your birth experience will directly correlate with your propensity to experience some mental health issues afterwards. And the reason I say that from my own experience was my second birth was what I would consider traumatic. It went entirely according to plan. Everything, like, I wasn't severely injured. There weren't any crazy interventions or anything like that. But the speed of it was so intense that my son was born in under 2 hours, and I didn't really have a chance to. I think of birth as like a journey, like you're going to this other place and you're getting a human and you're bringing them back. And I didn't have a chance to go on that journey with my son. So it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, and I felt like I was overwhelmed afterwards. But that spread into kind of a longer term experience with my son. By a month postpartum, I was having severe panic attacks, suicidal ideation. I was really honestly to the point where I was doing everything I could to survive and also raise a baby and a 2-year-old at that point. So I guess I don't want to take up too much time, and that's just kind of the overview of really kind of the darkest time that I had relating to postpartum. And it was really, like I said, with my most recent birth.
Also, please do not worry about time. Like, if this got to be a 3-hour podcast, I will flesh that out the way I can. Do not worry about time. This is like your story, and I want it to be told. So if you have anything else, feel free to share.
I do want to say, can you hear me? Okay. I do want to say, I don't know, we might go into this later, but as far as like talking about why we wanted to be a part of this, why we wanted to share our story, part of my experience with postpartum was the fact that in the medical system, I was abandoned. I went back for my 6-week postpartum appointment, and their routine at that point, at least where I was receiving care, is to basically take a suicide questionnaire. And I answered really honestly because I was really scared at that point. And I had been just barely keeping myself out of the hospital for about 2 weeks at that point, and I wanted someone to help me. I was relying really heavily on my partner. I felt really guilty for that. He didn't know what to do. He didn't want me to, he didn't want something to happen. So at my 6-week postpartum appointment, I told them how I was feeling. And so I was referred to a psychiatrist that was non-specializing in maternal medicine, who prescribed drugs for me that were unsafe for breastfeeding, which it wasn't a question for me personally, my own choice, that I wasn't going to not breastfeed my child. And secondly, they weren't safe for my history of bipolar. For anyone who doesn't know, if in some cases, bipolar patients, antidepressants can force a manic episode and can lower your ability to fight impulsive behavior that can lead to suicide attempts. So for me, if I take an antidepressant, especially a generic like Zoloft, there's a huge potential for me to end up hospitalized. I was also prescribed a muscle relaxer for anxiety and panic that rendered me completely incapacitated and unable to take care of my children. If I took one of them, I would be asleep for more than 24 hours. So at that point, for me, the choice really seemed to be care for myself or care for my family. And I feel very strongly that the lack of attention to this particular issue is directly correlated to the inability of the medical field to offer us better choices than that.
Thank you for sharing that, Selene. I feel like that Hamlin education is coming out. Bumblebee, can you share?
Yes, I had my daughter over 20 years ago. So during that time, postpartum and depression wasn't spoke of as much as it's spoken of now, openly, where we're comfortable enough to share. So at the time, I didn't realize I had postpartum. I never been diagnosed with it, but just reading and experiencing, and I'm currently in school for social work right now. I do believe that I did have it for the first 5 years. I remember giving birth to my daughter, and I didn't even want to hold her. Like when they gave her to me, I didn't even hold her. I didn't feel a connect throughout the pregnancy. I didn't feel a connect after the pregnancy. At one point, I thought maybe it wasn't a connect there because I was young. I was 19. My parents wasn't as accepting because I was in college. And I remember like my best friend, she pretty much raised my daughter from the moment she was born up to 5 years. Of course, like I worked, I supplied money so she can take care of her, but the maternal instincts, they never kicked in. I didn't want to really be bothered with her. And I remember after I had my daughter, it was like the next week I was out partying in the street. And it's like, I never was really a drinker or a smoker. And I started smoking a lot, drinking a lot. I was even addicted to X pills. It got to a point where I used to, I guess, cry a lot, and I didn't know why I was crying. I had attitudes and just snappish and things of that nature, but I never, ever had to connect with my daughter, and I was insulted by it. Nobody asked me anything about postpartum. Nobody asked me how I feel. It was just almost like I was a bad mother. I was horrible. It was things like that. Nobody never asked me, what was going on. So I didn't know anything was going on. I really thought I was a bad mom. I thought I was, because I really wasn't ready. It was a surprise to me when I found out I was pregnant. And the father, he was never around. Like even right now, my daughter's 19. She's never seen her father. So I thought all of those things was, reasons why I didn't connect with my daughter. But again, like I said, as time kept progressing, I've done a lot of reading, researching, and I truly believe that for 5 years or so, I had postpartum depression.